I need to unmute my mic. Can you please confirm that you can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome, awesome, great. Thank you. Perfect. So let's carry on. I would say that the advantage, if you can see anything positive out of this whole situation, is that I can have my dinner, you know, when I have this kind of class in the evening, you know. So I don't know if you can, because I can eat very fast, so I'm able to have my dinner. So I hope that you got something to eat there as well. Anyway, okay, so we have done our OK button. Now let's wrap things up with the clear, okay? So clear is just about cleaning the contents of every single control, having the control back to a state that clears things out. I mean, there's not much else to explain about clear. So I'm going to click the clear button. I'm going to go to the events and I'm going to the click events. So I'm going to double click there. Now, to clear the first name, can anyone give me a suggestion on how we're going to clear that? How are we going to clear that control?
Dot text, double quotes, just empty string.
We could do that. We could do dot text equals to empty string. That's one. We can actually also...
Can we clear forms form something, all values, reset all the fields?
There's nothing to do that globally, but actually there is a clear method for the controls. I can do something like this. Dot clear. And that will clear the control. So I tend to say that either one will do fine. Okay, either text equals to empty string or dot clear, either one will work fine. Okay, so that's for text boxes. So we have a few text boxes there. We have last name as well, so let's do the same thing for last name and for city. So txt last name, txt city. And then we have residence. So what should we do with residence? What do you think? We need to do something about that, but what is it? We need to do something. Go ahead, sorry.
You should go back to default value.
To default. Now, let's think about this. We are the ones that define what is a default value. So, default value.
Not false.
Yeah, so what is the default value for domestic?
False.
False. So we're going to say dot checked equals to false. Okay? And then we have to think, what is the default value for foreign?
True.
True. And then we're going to set it to true. So we reset that. What else we have here? So we took care of the 4 top ones. Program, there are 2 things that we can do. 2 options. We can do text as well. We can say text equals to empty string, or we can say that selected index is equals to -1. Either one will do fine. Okay, either one will work. Comment this one out. Let's have a look at the other control. So we have the up and down, numeric up and down. So for this one, we're gonna reset the value by setting it back to 0. Okay, So you're gonna set it to 0. And then we have the GPA. GPA we can do an empty string. We can do, so it can be an empty string. We may select to put 0 there. It's a text box, so either way would do just fine. And then we have a bunch of checkboxes here. For each one of those checkboxes, you're gonna say combo, let's say for this one here. So chk dot checked equals to false. And we're gonna do that for each and every single control, each and every single one of them. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy a little code here, put it there, and with all of that, I'm just setting the check for each control to false, each checkbox. And with this, if I run, and I put something there on each of the fields, and I check some boxes there. If I click clear, look, we're gonna reset everything back to square one. We could even set the focus to be this control here. We can say something like this: first day dot set, dot focus. And the focus, the cursor would go back to the first control. Okay, so again, I can just say clear, and you see the focus, the blinking bar goes back to the first control. That's about it. That's the exercise. Okay, I hope that's okay. I see a question here, Michael. So can you access the default value in code? Domestic checked equals to default value. Actually, to be quite honest, I have not tried this default value. Let's give it a shot here. So this is the RDPM. So default value, let me see. Let me ask you this, Michael. I mean, default value, do you know if this property exists, or you're just kind of fishing for a property here? Because it seems that it doesn't exist. Let me check here. Yeah, I don't think that there is a default value there, Michael. Let me just check that for a second here. Dot default. Yeah, there's no default value. Default value, when I say default, it's really according to the rules that we have established for the application, how it operates, you know. So there is no property called default value. Okay, so any more questions? Because that is the exercise. Okay. Now, before we move forward, and again, if you still have any questions, let me know. I will address them. But I want to talk a little bit about what you're going to be doing next week. What are the timelines? What is due when? Okay, so let's start with bonus. Okay, so bonus number 6. Because of the content that has been removed from week 10, last week, the bonus number 6 didn't really apply anymore. So what I decided to do was everybody got bonus 6. So whether you have submitted bonus 6 or not, you got it. You got bonus 6. Okay. Today, I am releasing bonus 7. I'll talk about bonus 7 towards the end of the class today. So bonus 7 will be released today, and it's due it's due by the beginning of next class, okay? So that's bonus. Bonus 6, you got it all. Bonus 7, it's gonna be released today, due next Friday, before the class. So that's bonus. Assignment 3 is due tonight, okay? If you are still doing that, that's fine. Submit it whenever you can, but again, due date is tonight at 11:30 p.m. Okay? That's bonus, that's assignment 3. Assignment 4, I'll be releasing it today. I'll be talking about it later today at the same time that I'll be talking about bonus 7. So bonus 4 is due. I'm gonna bring a calendar here so we can have a better reference. So bonus 4 is due in 2 weeks on the 10th of April, okay? So in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, assignment 4 is due on the 10th of April, okay? But keep one thing in mind. We're gonna have the 10th is a holiday, okay? So to be honest with you, we have today as a class. Next week on the 3rd of April is another class. Then we're gonna have our last class on the 17th. And our last class, the beginning of the class, we're gonna do exercise. The second half of the class, we're gonna do our final test. Okay? Our final test again will be on April 17th. And again, on April 10th is a holiday, is Good Friday. Okay? I have asked, because of the circumstance, I've asked if we would be having class here, but no, we will not. That's what I was told. Okay? So basically, you have the content that you're gonna be covering today and the content that you're gonna be covering next Friday. This day here that we will not be having, which is a holiday, it was supposed to be dedicated to a lot of reinforcements, like reinforcement exercises. As we will not have our class, I'll be providing those exercises to you so you can do them on your own there. Because again, this section won't have class here in this Friday. So, but again, this Friday here is the due date for assignment 4, okay? Can we attend your lecture from other section? You can, no problem. So I'm going to share, actually let me see if I can do this already. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me see this. Okay, so I'm going to share, let me see, I think this is enough. Actually, I'm not gonna leave this for later. I'm just gonna do this right away. You know what? I'll do it during the exercise time. I'll do that then. I'm gonna share my calendar. That you can see the other days that I'll be in class, okay? And you can pick any day that you want to come in. Again, use the same link. It's unlimited, well, I won't say unlimited seats, but we have up to 150 people in a class. So you can just come in for any other section and you can do that, okay? Okay, so we covered so far bonus, we covered assignment, we covered the final exam. Final exam, just so you know, it will be a hands-on exam like we did in midterm. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an exercise. You're gonna code that on Visual Studio. You're gonna have an hour and 45 minutes to code that. You're gonna, at the end, you're gonna upload that to Centennial. That's how you're gonna be graded. It's open book. Okay, so what else we have? Yeah, I think that's it in terms of timelines. Any questions? Anything that I may have missed? Any questions here? Oh, yes, I missed one thing. The quiz. Quiz number 5, which is the last quiz. So, of course, we don't have too many classes left. So, we didn't have the quiz today. We only have one more class before the day of the test. So, the quiz will be next Friday. Next Friday, at the beginning of the second half of the class, we're gonna have the quiz. Okay? Quiz will, because we're gonna be covering test-driven development, and we're gonna be covering that in the same day of the quiz. I'm not gonna include that in the quiz. So quiz will be basically about Windows development, like what we have done today. And it will include the topic that I'll be talking about later today, which is called lists. Okay? So, quiz next week will cover lists and GUI. Okay? That's it. Any questions? Any questions about timelines? Again, I hope that you wrote those dates down. I'll be sending reminders here and there, but again, don't count on me to babysit you. You have to write down those dates. I mean, we don't have too many dates, to be quite honest. Again, next Friday and then the 17th, we just have two more classes together. Okay? Again, anyone? I'm gonna look at Padlet here to see if there's anything there. Okay, so again, we still have a good hour and a half together. So we're gonna start now the next exercise. Okay, so I'm gonna give you time to go through the exercise under week 9. So you're gonna have a chance to do programming exercise 11. If you open that PDF, the first 3 pages of that PDF is just about more talking about properties, the prefix, some explanation about the controls, some examples. Again, there's a lot of just general information for you. The actual exercise is quite simple. It's just a little calculator there. You're gonna have to put some labels, some text boxes, some radio buttons, a button, a group, and you're gonna have to do the operation. This plus this equals to this, and you click the button to perform the operation. So again, let's put it this way, a very rudimentary calculator, but a good way to practice your new GUI skills. Okay? So I'll be walking around, seeing if you have any questions, if you have any comments, and if you have any questions about the assignment 3, for instance, you can ask me as well. We can use this time for that, okay? But again, I know I cannot walk around really, but I'll be here waiting for you to come back with questions, to ask me something, because again, I cannot see computer by computer there. I don't know if you are stuck or not. So I'm gonna rely on you to come back to me asking questions, okay? So get this one started. I'm gonna give you 35 minutes to get it done, because then we're gonna be jumping to arrays, to lists there at the end. Okay, so yeah, so 35 to 40 minutes will be enough to get this done. If you don't get it done, that's fine. You're gonna keep exercise 11 and exercise 12 to do at home and bring your questions back to me next week. Okay, so again, I'm gonna use this time to help you with the exercise or to help you with your assignment. I see a question already here about assignment 3. I'm gonna have a look at that in a second. I'll play the music, I'll put the timer, and I'll be around. Just reach out and I'll help you out, okay? I'm around. I'll keep the mic open and the camera open as well so you can see me, that I'm here. Okay. By the way, in a little bit, I'm gonna take attendance, okay? So don't drop yet. Don't drop yet, because I want to take your attendance. In a few minutes, I'm gonna do that. Just a quick note, I just uploaded the code for the student info system on both Padlet and on Slack as well, okay? So code is there. If you want to download that, use that as a reference point, you can. Okay, I'm just gonna call out the names for attendance here. I'll be looking at the attendance list, but as I call your name, just put in the chat that, hey, I'm here, or something like that, okay? So I'm just gonna call, but again, some of you, I know that you are already in. So Andrea, you're in. Chloe, you're in. David, you are in as well. Dermik, I don't see you. Great. So Dinesh, I think I saw you. Yes, Dinesh is there. Igor is there as well. Elgin, I don't see Elgin there. Elgin, no, I don't see here. Eric is not around. George is here. How I see you. Hong, Viet, I see you. Jayanth, you're there as well. Jessica, I don't see Jessica there. Karanvir is there. Kenneth is there as well. Krupabin, I don't see you there. Yep, Ken, I saw you. So Michael is there. Osman is not around. Philip is not around. Rafsan is not around. Raul is there. Rafael, I saw you before, Rafael. Robert is not there. Siranjit and Siranjit both are there. Sona, I saw Sona earlier today. Yeah, I saw you today, Sona. No. Themin doesn't seem to be there. Okay, perfect, you were there. Walid, are you there? Walid is not there. And Zian, I don't think you were there either. Okay, so I think I got it. Okay, let's go back to the songs. Kenneth, I assume that you are asking which exercise. We are doing exercise 11, if that's your question. Okay, so as I was saying, Andrea and whoever else wants to follow this, I'm gonna get a brand new Windows app here just to demonstrate how you can delete code that you accidentally created. Let's say that you have a button there, and let's say you double click this button and it created something here by accident, or you did the same thing for the form. You double click the form, you created this by accident. If you want to get rid of it, don't delete from here, okay? Don't do this. What you have to do is go back to the form. First, save what you're doing. Go back to the form if you want to get rid of that event, first you have to disconnect the event from the control. So in the case of a form, I'm going to go to the events. I'm going to first remove it from here with the delete button, hit enter, save what you did, and look, sometimes it gets rid of the code for you automatically. If it's still there, you can get rid of it. Now, still have button 1. Go back there, button 1, select it, go to the events, go to click, get rid of the event there, use the delete button, use the backspace. Sorry, I just clicked too much here. I'm gonna go back there. So delete, backspace, exit there, save this. Now, see, the code is gone. So if the code is gone automatically, great, good for you. If it's not gone automatically, now you can delete it, okay? That's it. Andrea, is it fine? And what happens if already have an event, an event? So, not sure what I mean by that, but see, look, here's the event. The event is there. The event is connected here. Now, do you mean if there is code here? Is that it? Is that, are you asking if there is code already inside the event? Because again, if this is the case, you can copy the code before you get rid of the event. Now, I'm gonna kind of repeat that. So here's a button. I'm gonna remove the event from here, from the click. I'm gonna hit enter. This is done. For example, if before I create an event as check and after that I accidentally click 2 times and it's going to create a new event. Okay, even if you create a new event by accident, there will be only one event selected here. You cannot have 2 events at the same time selected here. So you should get rid of the one that is here. And as long as you delete the one that is here, you can remove both from your code. But you have to take it out from here first. Once you are done with that, you can go to your code and delete them if they are still there, both of them, because none of them are linked to a control anymore. Now, make sure that they are not linked to another control, okay? Okay, again, hope that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Michael, exception handling, we have covered that. So the strategy to handle exception on a console application as well as on a Windows application, it's the same strategy. The try catch block, they work the same way. Okay? I don't know if that's your question, but again, there is no difference between handling exceptions in a console application as compared to in a Windows application. Okay, to be quite honest, it's your call. It could be done via a label, it could be done via a pop-up message. However you want to output your feedback, you can. You can use something like the message box that we have just used to pop up a message there for the user. Okay, let me know if you have any follow-up question, Michael, about that, okay? which one we should change, if it's the label or the text. It depends. It depends if you want to change the text that shows up in the form or if it's the name of the control. You're going to change one or the other, again, depending if you want to change the name of the control or the text that goes on top of the control. The prefix, you tell me. What is about the try to put the prefix on the text. See what happens. Give it a try. Again, just go to the text, put the prefix there, see what happens in your screen. That's correct, Kenneth. It should be in the name, the prefix. No problem. That's awesome, Dinesh. Again, good stuff, good stuff. Any questions, any problems you had?
None as of now, Professor. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Good job there. You can get started on the next one. Next one is a calculator, a little bit more sophisticated, but another calculator that if you want, you can give it a try. But again, good stuff here. I like the recording. Which software are you using to do the recording?
This one is an ultra screen recorder. It is on Windows Store, sir.
Got it, got it. Thanks. Good idea, good idea. Yeah, Kenneth. It's by similar to Visual Basic. If you had contact with Visual Basic before, the UI is similar, yes. So now, of course, the language is C#. It's not Visual Basic, but yeah, it's similar. Okay. But again, Visual Basic is, let's put it this way, it's a language that is kind of in the past. We don't have too much new stuff going on with Visual Basic anymore. Visual Basic is one of those languages that stayed in the past, you know. But again, it served its purpose for a long time. That's great, Michael. Yep, I see what you mean. Yep, I get it. So again, you can do that via label, or you can do that via a message box. But yeah, it's good. Yes, correct. You can have an area like that, or again, you can bring those arrows as pop-up boxes. Okay, two ways. You can display like this, or you can have them as pop-up messages. I'm thinking here, okay, let me go to Kenneth before. So how do you show the grid lines in the form? Okay, so the grid lines, Kenneth, I think that you're talking about the alignment lines. So if I look there, so when you have different controls close to each other, look, as you move the mouse, as you move the control over to the edges, you see them. See? Look at the top, look at the middle here, at the bottom. So that's how the lines show up, to help you align them. Okay? I don't know if that's your point there. Okay, if that's what you're talking about. Okay? So Michael, let's have a look here. So I see, Michael. I got it. Yeah, you can do something like this. I think that you sorted out. You can no label. Where is the label? If you have a label and if you take the text out, so it becomes hard for you to read or actually to see it. If you just select the whole thing here, you can see the little reference there. I think that's what the same conclusion that you got. Okay, so we are done with our time. Great, Michael. We are done with our time here. So with our time for the exercise. So you're gonna keep this exercise 11 and 12 and 13 as well, because you're gonna see that there is exercise 13 under week 11. So 11, 12, and 13, you're gonna be doing them on your own time at home. In next class, you can bring your questions about them. Okay, I'm not sure if you're gonna have time to do them next class, so you better get them done during your time from now to the next class. Okay. Now I would like to start, not only to start, but to start and finish, because it's a topic that will take only about 20 minutes to cover that. Let me open here. We're gonna be talking about lists, okay? So with this whole change that happened and the corresponding change that happened in our curriculum as well, in our course outline, the topic that was supposed to be covered last week is called collections, okay? So that topic has been removed from the outline. However, there is one topic or one subtopic inside collections that I find it very important. I said, you know what? At the very least, the students need to leave the course knowing about lists, okay? Some of you actually have done assignment 3 using a list instead of an array, which is a good strategy if you knew how to use that, but it was not required for you to use that. So I want to take the next 20 minutes to cover lists with you. Okay, it's not that complicated. It's actually easier to deal with lists than it is to deal with arrays. Okay, and I'll show you why. Okay, so as I said, list is a modern way. It's an easier way to deal with collections instead of arrays. Okay. We're going to be looking at how to add items to a list, how to remove items from a list, how to change items in a list, okay? So, who can tell me what is the limitation or one of the limitations of arrays? And
Size.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. It is a fixed size, and the data type is also this has to be the same.
Okay. So let's look at that. So size, you're right, because before I can use an array, I have to define its size. I have to know the size of the array before I can use it. There are ways to resize an array dynamically, but it's not very straightforward, okay? However, in terms of type, if we are dealing with lists, we have to know the type as well. We can have a list of any type, but you have to define that type. You have to say, it's a list of strings, it's a list of students, it's a list of integers. The same way as you have to say, it's an array of integers, an array of strings, an array of students. So again, from that standpoint, you have to know each item in the collection, in the array, or in the list. They have to be of the same type, okay? Now, I can tell you that lists are more flexible. We have a lot more options to work with as compared to arrays. So you're gonna see this kind of terminology. You're gonna see a list of a certain type. It can be replaced by string, by int, it can be student, can be anything, account. We define the type, okay? This is called a list of generics. Yeah, they are generics, but you have to define the type that the list is about. The list is for strings, for integers. What is the type? Okay? So, list type is available in the namespace called system.collections.generic. Okay? However, if you are creating a Windows application, by default, the form will bring the namespace system.collections.generic at the top of the form. Okay, so usually you don't have to add the namespace manually, it's already added for you. But if it's not there, make sure that it's there before you can use a list. Okay? Okay, so a list inherits from iList, which inherits from iCollection, which inherits from iEnumerable. Do you really need to know all of this? Not really, not for this course. I'm just saying that this is the hierarchical structure when it comes to lists in C#, okay? Okay, so this presentation is available on week. Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, there's another question. Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yeah.
So I see that there is I, that means which is an interface, but I was in the impression that generally I is for the verbs like enumerable, so something which is doable, but we have I with the interface with collection and list.
Okay, so I don't know if you recall, and I can open the presentation. Usually we try to squeeze the able at the end, okay? However, there are certain things that doesn't sound good with able at the end. So yes, it's all interfaces. However, some of them, the able doesn't sound very good there, so they don't put it there. But again, as I mentioned, able, they try to, but if it doesn't sound right, it's not kept, okay? So don't worry about that able part. It's I'll say it's a plus if we can squeeze that in, but it's not mandatory.
Got it, thank you.
Okay, but again, you can see that all of them, they have the I for the interface, okay? Great, okay, so next one here. So as I said, this presentation is available in Centennial under week 11 as a PowerPoint, as a PDF. You can check this video from there, you can click the link. I'm not gonna play it here because it's just a recap of what I'm presenting already, but I would highly recommend that you watch this on your own time when you are away from the class, okay? So, what I want to really focus is this. Look, we have a bunch of properties for the list. You know, we have is fixed size, is read only, items. We have adds. Add is a method that allows you to add items to the list. You have clear, which will allow you to remove all items from the collection, from the list. You have contains, which will check if an item is present in the collection, in the list. You have insert, which will insert an item in a particular position within the list. We have remove, which will remove an item. We have remove at, which you can say remove at 1, 2, 3. It's going to remove the item from the collection, from the list, okay? So I'm going to expand and actually demonstrate for you the use of some of those methods in the next slide, okay? So this slide here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open Visual Studio. We're gonna have a look at a Windows application that will demonstrate the use of lists for us as an example, and you're gonna be exploring some of its methods. So let me open that. Okay, so look at this application here. We have a form, and we are calling this form as form FRM list. Okay, so here's the name of the form. Then guess what type of control is this one that I'm clicking? What is that? Look at the name. The name is txt output. What is the type? Which control is that one? Can you just give me some feedback there in the chat?
Text field, text out area.
It's a text box. So there's no such control called text box area. But what we have is we have the regular text box, which we can expand, we can stretch it, we can change the color of the background, we can add scrolling bars. Okay, so this is it. This is a text box that has multi-line. Okay, so we have a text box, we have a form, and we have a button. So I will be demonstrating the use of a list by adding code to the click of this button. Okay, so I'm gonna select the button, I'm gonna go here to the events, I'm gonna double click on click, and now I'm gonna start to create my list, and we're gonna be manipulating that list. Okay, so let me just open code here for my reference so it can guide us as we go through this. Okay, so I'm gonna start by creating a new list. So we declare a list doing like this. If this is a list of strings, so I'm gonna say list string. I'm gonna give the name. So I'm gonna call this items, and I'm gonna say this is just a class, a regular class. I'm gonna say equals to new what? Well, this is the type. I'm gonna say new this, and here's the constructor. Again, just as we handle a new object for any other class that we have, this is a class, a regular class like any other. Now, it has this strange syntax that we have to use this corner brackets with the type inside. But here, this is the type, and this is the constructor. Okay, like we are used to deal with constructors all the time. Okay, so after we create, I'm going to start to interact with this output box, and I'm going to start to count items, to output the items to this text box. This text box will work as a console output. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's give it a count. Let's count the number of items in our new list. So I'm putting the message before adding items, count is equals to, and then I can call the property. I can call items dot count. Okay, this will give me the count of items. Let's give it a run. Okay, so here's the application. I'm going to click the button, and it says before adding items, count is equals to 0. That's expected. Okay, now let's try to add an item here. Let's give a little bit of space here, and we're gonna be adding colors. Okay, so we're gonna have an array of strings, and each string will be the name of a color. So we add red, adds to the bottom of the list. Now our list is empty, but now it has one item, and I'm gonna add a second item. What if I do this? Again, how many items are we gonna have? We're gonna have 2. What is the first item after this line here? Is the first item red or yellow? After that,
First item is red.
first item is red. Okay. However, what if I do this? Instead of using the add method, I use the insert method. What is this doing here?
It's inserting yellow at 0 index.
So remember, collections in C#, they start with index 0. The first item of any, I don't know if I should say any, but as far as I could see, any collection, every collection in C# starts with 0. The first item is 0. So if I say insert 0, insert at 0 position yellow, what it does is this. We had red there. Insert yellow, so red moves to the second one, yellow becomes the first one. Okay? Now, how about we count the items? We run another count. And not only that, but let's print out, let's display the items in the list. Okay? So let's do this. I'm going to put a message that says display list contents with counter controlled loop. So we're going to enter in a loop, in a for loop that goes from 0 to count -1. See, it's I less than count, so I will go to 1. So 0 first position, 1 second position. For each one, I'm going to print it out. I'm going to go and output that. Okay, so again, I'm just counting. I'm counting here once, I count here twice. I'm displaying now the list of items. Let's run this. And if we process, look, display list contents with counter controlled loop. We have yellow, the first one, and red is the second one. Okay, so now let's try something else. Let's try to add 2 more items. As I said, whenever you call the add method, it adds the item to the end of the list. So our list right now, it has, after this, it has yellow, red, green, and yellow. 4 items. By the way, who can tell me what is this? What is this that I have selected there?
N is for new line.
Select is new line.
Yes, so it's carriage return and line feed. So it gives me a new line, okay? So I'm using that. I'm using 2 of them because I want an empty line, okay? So this is just a way that I can use escaping. When you use this slash, you are escaping the characters. So I'm using escape there to give me a new line. Just wanted to explain that. Okay, so
Anderson,
yes.
What is this R doing here?
Actually, you if I'm not mistaken, and I might be mistaken, but you need to use the combination to do line feed and carriage return. Actually, you have carriage return and line feed. You have a combination to make the line break.
Okay.
I don't think that if you put just one, if it will work. I can test that. We can test that, but I don't think so. Okay. But again, that's it. Line feed and carriage return. There is another way, a more elegant way to do that, and I'll show that in a second. But for now, I'm going to show another count of items. We're gonna see 4 items now. After adding 2 more items, the count is, well, should be 4. So let's give this a try. So look, count is equals to 4 after adding 2 more items. Let's print them out so that you can make sure, but let's print them out in a different type of loop now. Look, the first loop that we did, it was with a counter. The second loop that we're doing, to be quite honest, I think this loop here is more intuitive and I find it to be easier to understand, but we're gonna be using a for each. For each what? For each string item in items, print them out. So after each loop, the string item will contain the item in that position. Okay, so I'm gonna just print them out. I'm gonna put a comma to separate them. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's see. Run again. Process, and here we have yellow, red, green, and yellow. 4 items. Okay. So again, you can use for each, you can use for. With for, you have to use the count property. With for each, you don't have to. You can just go item by item automatically. Now, let me ask you this. If you run that, how many items will we have in our list after this line? Right now, our list has yellow, red, green, and yellow. When I call remove, what will happen with my list?
2 items?
2 items, 3 items, 1 item, 4 items, all numbers. Okay, so question is it 2 or 3?
I think 3. So for 2, we need to do remove all maybe.
Good point, good point. So it will remove the first occurrence of yellow. Okay? Look the description. Removes the first occurrence of a specific object. Okay? Now, you do have remove all. But to be quite honest, remove all, it has a different syntax. It's not just like this. Okay? It's not just like this. It's a little bit more complicated. To be quite honest, I don't remember the syntax of remove all, but remove all will do that. Will do that for us. But again, it's not just a straightforward string like this. Okay? So I'm gonna keep just remove, and let's see the output again. Let's loop through the items again, and let's have a look. So after removing first instance of yellow, we're gonna have the following items. Let's see. Look, after removing first yellow, we have red, green, and yellow. We remove the first one. Okay? So this is one way to remove an item. However, I can also remove an item by doing this. Remove at 1. Look, our list right now has red, green, and yellow. If I run this line, which item will be removed? To recap.
The first and second item.
So red, green, and yellow. Which color will remove? Yes. It's green. Thank you, Andrea. So yeah, it's the second item, okay? So again, this is the position 1, which means the second one. Position 0 means the first one, okay? So if we put 1, we're gonna remove the second one. Let's print them out once again. And we're gonna see the second one element getting removed. here we have, it used to be red, green, and yellow. Now we just have red and yellow. Question: what will be the return value of this? Look at this line. What is the return value of this?
True, false.
Contains is a boolean. It will return true if this item is in the list, and false if it's not there. Okay, so we can use contains to test, to do if else statements. Okay, so we can do something like this: if items contain red, do this, show the message red is in the list, otherwise red is not in the list. Okay, and here look at this, I'm using this other way to create a break, a line break in my text box. Okay, I can use environment class dot new line. New line is a property. Okay, so this will return a new line. It's the same thing as doing this. Okay, let's give this a try, and we should be able to see red. You see red and yellow. Red is in the list. Okay, I have a question here. Can we check it for a substring of a string, or as well like low? I get it. Let me see one thing here. I don't think you can do that. Let me see one thing. No, you cannot do that. It has to be an exact match. However, there is an overload here that has an equality compare. I don't know. There might be something here, Cinnamon, that might be useful, but at first it has to be an exact match.
Okay, got it.
Okay, great. So that's how you deal with lists. Again, I did not want this course to finish without us covering at least a list, because you will be using that next semester as well on web application development. Okay, so as I said, I wanted to cover this in about 20 minutes. I did. There is an exercise on week 11, programming exercise 13, which, by the way, it's quite an interesting exercise. You're gonna be building something like this. I'm gonna show you. Let me see where I have this. You're gonna be building something like using a list, something like this. This is the Prime Minister's application. You click the name of the Prime Minister and they show up on the left-hand side. Okay, so that's the exercise that you're gonna be doing. Take the time to do this. You're gonna be practicing lists, and you're gonna be practicing Windows development as well. Okay, the exercise is here. The additional files that are gonna help you out is here. Michael, could you use a regular expression as part of a string? Michael, I don't think that a regular expression will work there, but the other overloads might help you with that. You know, there's one overload that has this high quality compare that would allow you to compare in different ways. So now in the future, I'm gonna show you how in the future, not this semester, in the future next semester under web application development, we're gonna be using something called lambda expressions, and lambda will help you with all kinds of comparison types, partial comparisons, full comparisons, regular expression comparisons as well. Contains is a very basic way to compare. Okay, it's really an exact match here. Andrea, maybe the codes in the list. Okay, if this code will be in the Uncentennial, yes, it will be Uncentennial. Okay, So I'll be uploading this code to Centennial once we're done. Is that your question, Andrea? Okay, perfect. So just a few things before we are done. So you have exercise 11, 12, and 13 to do at home. Bring the questions next week, as we may not have time to do them in class, but bring your questions, okay? Bonus 7 has been released. You have until next Friday before the class to get it done. Very similar to what you have done in the past. You listen to one episode, answer the questions, but the second question, the second point is a little bit different. I get it, Michael, but that's around regular expression, and I get it. I know what it's a regular expression. I just don't think that contains will match with a regular expression. I don't think it will accept a regular expression. No, not wildcard, David. Not really. It's an exact match there. Okay? Now again, as I said, there are other things that we're gonna be using in the future to filter lists, okay? Unfortunately, yeah, we will not be covering that in this semester yet. Let me just finish here this bonus. So the bonus, the second point, you're gonna read this page. This is about test-driven development, and then you're gonna answer those two questions. The answer to those two questions is available here in this link. So have a look at that, answer the questions, and submit before the beginning of next class. Siran, if we attempted bonus 6, can we get bonus 7 for free? Wow. Okay. No, you cannot, Siran. Come on. Do do bonus 7 too. Come on.
I was kidding. I just
I hope
wanted to.
that you were joking. Yes, I hope so. Great. Thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, so bonus 7 is here. Now, to wrap things up, actually I have one more thing to wrap things up, but before that, assignment 4 has been released. So if you go to assignments, assignment 4 is there. There is a file that goes together. Have a look at assignment 4. You can bring your questions next class, because this has to be done in 2 weeks. By April 10th, this has to be delivered. Okay? It's a bit, there's a lot to read, but it may sound a little bit overwhelmed, but it's not. Okay? It's just a lot of details that you have to put together. But you're gonna have 2 weeks working from home to be able to get this done. Okay? Bring back your questions, but it should be, in the end, you're gonna be drawing this beautiful cartoon character. Okay? That's the output of this whole exercise here, of this whole assignment. This beautiful hat character. Character with a hat and big ears. That's assignment 4. Now, before I let you go, I have one request. Because this is the first time that we have this online interaction, I want to see how things went for you. What can be better? What can be worse? And I'm gonna ask you to take a second, 2 minutes of your time, and fill out for me this quick survey. I'm gonna send this to everybody. 1 second. So I'm going to ask you to fill out the survey. 3 questions. Tell me what worked, what didn't work, what you'd like to see different here. This is an experiment. This is the first time for you, first time for me during this week. I want to see what worked for you. Maybe look back at your other classes that you had this week. Maybe tell me something that another instructor did that I didn't do, and you wanted me to do that as well. Tell me, share with me your opinions. What worked, what didn't work, what you'd like to see changed for our next class. Okay? Again, the goal is to make this better, to make this interactive as possible, as engaging as possible. and I have my ears and my eyes open to hear your feedback. Okay, so please take a second, take 2 minutes to fill that out. I'd really appreciate. It would really help me to make this better next time. That's about it. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great weekend, great rest of your evening, of your night. Great weekend. Stay safe, stay sound, stay home. Wash your hands. I'll see you all next Friday. Have a great weekend and week as well. Take care. Take care. Thank you, Andrea. Siron, thanks so much. Thank you, everyone. You too, Siron. Let's put some music to go away. Thank you, Chloe. Kenneth. Thank you, Dinesh. Thanks so much.